acted very, very dangerous.
Get these spidey sense, I was like, oh, something's off.
And I'm just like, man, I'm waiting to hear something,
Keep that crowd warmed up. Is Mr. Yahola Tiger.
What's going on, guys? And I thought I'd bring a little bit of a movie review. This is not going to be a very long, not really an episode, but I went out the other day. I went out and seen Godzilla Minus One. And I have been a Godzilla fan for my entire life. Since I was able to know, that movies existed, Godzilla was always the one. I used to call Godzilla Galila. And literally every single Godzilla movie I have seen a million times. And with this movie, I felt a certain way about it. And it was like in a good way. Because if you've ever seen the earlier Godzilla stuff where it's like at the very beginning, and you have all those people screaming, Godzilla! Godzilla! Screaming, or Gojira. And one thing about this movie is it brings back that fear. Another thing that it brings is the human element. So the movie starts off with a failed kamikaze pilot. He's afraid of war. He doesn't want to be in this war. Basically it's a losing battle at this point. It's the end of the war, World War II. And he's like, no, I don't want to be a part of this. So he flies his plane to basically an island that has mechanics and it has a bunch of indigenous people that are living there. And that's where the movie starts. The first 15 minutes will have you in shock and awe. It's like a hard-hitting 15 minutes. And then it slows down. But you actually care about these characters. It's not like these latest, Kong and Godzilla and Mechagodzilla, these movies that have been coming out from us here in America. But it's just on a whole different plane. Once he survives that night, and I'm not going to give away what happens that night, he battles with internal, like a survivor's guilt type feeling that he is dealing with, trying to basically not feel guilty for what happened that night, and also not feel guilty for abandoning his country. And also it has like undertones of the atomic bomb. It does mention Operation Crossroads briefly. And if you guys have heard my conspiracy episode, I think it has Courage the Cowardly Dog as the thumbnail. But that conspiracy episode, I talk about Operation Crossroads very briefly when talking about SpongeBob. Well, this is similar to that, and some of the scenes and some of the shots, man, are just so crazy. Like, there's some explosion scenes that, like, I watched it at Flicks Brew House in Oklahoma City, and this budget, it's only $15 million that they made for this film, but the explosions just felt real. Like, they felt like I remember the first one, and I literally sat there with my jaw open, and I had like a loss of breath, because we're used to those cinematic explosions, but it doesn't feel quite real. It feels like it's, more of like a CGI type. This actually looks like they went and bombed something. And the build up to Godzilla in his reign of terror, man, it just builds throughout the film. And, you get some happy, kind of like a happy message at the end of that movie. And, that I cannot explain to you enough how much that movie, like, I got kind of emotional watching, because I see the Japanese people, and it depicts them in an accurate way of how they were after we bombed the mess out of them, and how they had to get back together. They had to come together as a country and figure out. But at the same time, they're dealing with this Godzilla. They're dealing with this monstrous sea creature, is how they described him at first. And I just felt a certain way, man. I just was like, wow, like, it shows you kind of like a timeline of years, and it's in all like kind of a timeline that just, you get to see the progression, and then you see, what this monster can do. And it's just unlike any other Godzilla film I've seen since the very first one back in like the 50s or whatever. But this Godzilla just looks so crazy. One of the best scenes I'll say is the boat scenes, some of the boat scenes. Man, when Godzilla comes out and you see that fin, Man, something about Jaws always with that fin had made me kind of get almost a little bit of anxiety. But it does that same thing, and but it takes it to like times 20 on it. But I would give the rating for Godzilla Minus One a 5 out of 5. This is the best movie of 2023. No, there's no competitor. It has everything you need. A monster that terrifies you, the human element, the family element. I know people that have served in the military. It has that element too. But it's just a great film, and it's just I cannot. I left that wanting more, like wanting like another sequel. Like we need 3 or 4 of these movies, and we need to see what I think it's Toho, that the production company over in Japan. We need to see a universe out of this Godzilla, because this Godzilla, man, is that dude is on one. That dude is wilding out. No ifs, ands, or buts. I think he be eating people. Like this is the Godzilla that I wanted and that terrified me as a kid. And let me know what you guys think if you go see it. Like I said, I give it a 5 out of 5. People's elbows, people's clothesline. It's just an amazing movie. And let me know, guys, what you think. And I appreciate you guys tuning in. And I'll catch you on the next one.